What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. We have so much to get into on today's Market Watch, from Banlist speculation and maximum copium to also staples getting bought out. This is the third Market Watch in a row, but I want to slow down and say thank you, Duelist, so freaking much. I get to do this for a living, talk about a game I love and put my experience into video format. I know a lot of people do get information or even dollars out of doing that, but yesterday YouTube suppressed my thumbnail, Dragoon too spicy for YouTube, and I felt really bad because I see 9 out of 10 on the video thing for a Market Watch out of the last 10 videos. I'm like, that's really bad for a Market Watch. But then it started to pick up steam, and one of my longtime viewers told me, hey, look, your video, the thumbnail's not showing up even on home, it's not showing up over in sub feeds, of course it's not in suggested bars, but when I replaced the thumbnail with a slight tweak, it at least showed up on home, even if it wasn't in the sub bar. But you guys knew to go on home, to click the video or check the notification, and it means a lot that so many duels still showed up and out to click the video. It's insane that it actually caught up on traction. That almost never happens with my videos since I don't do legacy views. And I just wanted to slow down once again and say thank you. That being said, let's go ahead and get into today's Market Watch and get you a sponsor who can do both. James Chow down in Mexico right now for the YCS after topping the last YCS, trying to go ahead and spike a dub. But I hit him up, you're sold out of this and that, Hulk and Borland, and your lubers are going again, and he restocked everything. Some prices are up because they're the very final quantities that he has. Code What'sGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel directly will work. Or the other sponsor topping YCS is Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily. I know a lot of people are waiting for those too, but these have been pretty darn nice. A Luber is still under $30 at $29.99. Hulk not quite double digit, 1 penny less at $10 about. And then you have Boral End at $8.99. And speaking of Boral End, I feel like I've underestimated this the most in pre-sales. At $6.99, I figured no brainer. That's pretty easy to pick up, add into your cart. But looking over at the actual trending sales on TCG Player pre-sales at still almost double that price, right? $16, $15 flying off. People are starting to compete a bit more, but still not down under 15 or anything like that. Not $14.95. You have $15.43, $15.50, and plenty of copies there as well. Very, very interesting to see how like the different ticks and people going under each other on the Ghost pre-sales have been on TCG, but for Ghost it's been bottom out on some cards, other cards hold the line. Borland's one of those, and it is Link 5, Negation, really good card, gonna appear in some decks. I do feel like maybe I slept on it just a little too hard. The versus like, yo, look at Heat Soul, these $6.99 pre-sales, but you know, the Heat Soul, its price talks for itself over on TCG Player when it keeps trying to demand near $30 freaking dollars. But what do you think is a card that everybody lower end, higher end is sleeping on in Ghost from the past two? Let me know in the comment section down below, because I do think there's a lot of gems to be going ahead and looking at. And again, code What'sGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel directly if you are shopping these pre-sales on Gamer's Choice. I know a ton of you guys from the back end data have been, especially with how they're almost out of cards on multiple cards. Now, maximum copium, sniffing it like, you know, Team Samurai sniffs his cards. People are buying out even the Ultra version of Maxi, of course, not too hard. It's out of Legendary Collection 5Ds, so there's not the most of them. And these kind of double down when people are thinking about investing in them as well. If it doesn't come off the list, it'll get hyped later next time, next list. And I have Time Wizard format, hyping tons of past formats, right? And people, look at these quantities of sales, are going in pretty readily this week, and the prices with that are going way up. I do want to say I think it would be smarter to get the secret rares, even unlimbs, versus an ultra rare from the Legendary Collection, because if Konami really was going to release this from the list, don't you think it would be like Harpy's Feather Duster, where they do a reprint somewhat soon after that would drop on the list, where Konami would be cashing in on it, and not just all these super old copies where the last one printed was years and years ago. But the secret rare even is picking up traction. Look at these sales all in the last week. People are buying these up at full price right now and trying to hedge that versus, well, Time Wizard format at worst, off the ban list at best. But nobody's going for the super top, and that is very bloated. The Ultimate Rare has not had a sale in months. What do you guys think? Master Duel, we have 3 crossout Designator, Ash Blossom, it totally can come back, or is it just maximum copium? I'm leaning towards the copium part, but you never know with Konami, they could be shaking it up. Pot of Prosperity is selling out and spiking in price. We are in the YCS season, in-person regional seasons. Paper Yu-Gi-Oh's back, baby. And remember, that $100 cap that vendors had at events is gone. That used to really keep secret rares to $120, because if you look at fees and shipping, you know, at $120, that's about what you get. But also in the room, vendors couldn't sell a card above $99.99. So looking at Pot of Prosperity, starting to go towards that zone that Lightning Storm was headed towards, right? Where it hits 145, 150, and people are buying this out. There's only 16 listings left on the secret. Less than the Starlight Rare. How crazy is that? And you do see it heading towards 140 very quickly here on the front page. But it's not just this. Other staples, Crossout, it's been non-stop up. I pointed as it went from 30 to 35, 35 to 40. Now it's towards $45 lowest and quickly going up towards 50 from there. It is on a non-stop spike after multiple winners have this in their deck. It proves that people are all right, I'll deck build around it, starting to conform a little to that. And more people ask me, the 2021 tens of Ancient Battles, they're starting to disappear. Should I get a case now? And as they disappear faster, opportunity cost versus other things. I'm not a financial advisor channel. I don't know the future versus how many holders there are into these tens, which probably there's a lot that originally had them, but picking it up right now is still pretty bottom out price on the Megatins. And my thoughts are, this has several other staples that could play well, and one of them is currently doing well in Triple Tactics Talent. You had Lofton actually using multiples in his dub, and after that, heading into the next YCS, look at this. A little tiny baby spike from 22 to 24, but the sales rate speaks on a different level for a card that is priced around here. Look at all of that. That's today. And then you go to the next down. That's all yesterday, and we're not out of yesterday, the day before. Tons of these are flying, and it was $22 just a couple weeks ago. Now it's spiking up towards $24, and the bigger spike is definitely on the Rise of the Dual Secret Rare. You can see a much more clear whoop going up, you know, $10, $15 versus where it was at. So the higher end is going, meaning the deeper pockets are interested. I could see both versions of talent starting to go that direction, but also inside of these tens, you have another staple in Zeus that I think could easily be 18, 20, 22, 25 over time, depending on no reprint and the future that Konami gives it. But you've got several top ends that play out well here, and Crossout Designator is a 3 of, unlike Dragoon, who's typically a 1 of, that really sold the 2020 tens. But this has been a super slow burner, and the bottom end of this, not the greatest. Konami's trying to protect it. Ice Dragon's Prison didn't get reprinted, but I do think if you're thinking about the tens, about now is the time to do so. Of course, using that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying, mainly because if you're going in on cases, they're starting to disappear at this juncture. Look, the only $160 ones are here, and we're no longer in crazy amounts of digits of sealed tens versus we do have this holder at 40 at the 168, but all these 160s and unders, they're starting to disappear, and you do have multiple staples playing well. Now, you have Triple Tactics Talent. That is a format dependent card, similar to Ogre, similar to Droll Lock, where right now it's thriving because it's not super Omni Negate all over the board for everything. You do have the base Synchro deck, which has another buyout being caused right now, we'll talk about later. But most things are like a negate and a ton of interactions, and after forcing that first negate, Triple Tactic Talent really rises up there. But if it was a super negate board, then this just becomes a force another negate to where you could have Forbidden Droplet or Dark Ruler no more do way more work on busting a board. Instead, this becomes massive advantage in the current format right now. We'll see how that holds up during Splight format as well. But yeah, comparing to the 2020 tens, I do think it has room to grow. It has multiple top end cards that can grow, and 2 of them are starting to do so now, which makes this right about the right time. All the old memes. She used to call me on the cell phone. Morphtronic cell phone super rares are $50, and the DT is way up there too. Why is this? Reveals for Power Tool Dragon. It already was spiking up when the Power Tool got revealed, and further buyouts happened at the $20 to freaking $30 range, and now the lowest listing is $50. Memes will be memes. Don't let them be dreams. It only does have 3 printings though. The common, if you're truly interested in this, you might want to get it sooner than later while it's still a quarter. Morphtronic super fan favorite out there. Market Man bad. Market Man cost Firewall ultimate rare to spike despite there being gold letter rares and all these other versions I could get. I was waiting for the ulti to fall out even further to like $18. Look, you're gonna have all these Code Talker boards actually using this card, and I hate to tell you this really vendor well-kept secret, there's another platform selling these cards, and while they're a little up first yesterday, they're way cheaper than TCG Players, still around $35 instead of, the $40 it's at mostly over here. So do consider that there's other places to buy cards the day it spikes where they still can be way cheaper. But yes, this one, I own it. I shouted it out, and it spiked after. It's been a while since that's happened. I try to be a little more careful, but with all the money pouring into Heat Soul, it was pretty obvious these were going to start to go at some point. Now, all of the Ghost Girl cards have continued to get bought out, but we have the term Tier 0 being thrown around from the OCG a lot as I drop stuff on my desk, but we have Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries being very favored towards Tier 0 formats like Spiral, and if everyone's playing Splight or only decks to beat Splight, then this is great. Well, Splight's about 50-ish% in representation, which is a lot, but that doesn't mean the only other decks are played to beat it. Now, this also doubles down as taking care of DPE, though, which is pretty big against other decks, so hitting, one huge chunk and then another of the metagame feels pretty good, man, so people are theorying that this will do excellent, and now the cheapest copy is a German at 50, before English is at 60, then 90, fresh on the buyout. We'll see how this falls out, but really there's only been one format where this super worked out, and another where it was pretty good. ABC formats where it was pretty good, full power spirals where it really was a terror, but we'll wait and see how this Ghost Girl ages as we do hit towards Splight format. Speaking of Splites, every single version of Diva that is holographic has fully spiked now. You were still able to get Dual Saga and OTS Supers cheap. Now you see them spiking, just ridiculously going to the stratosphere, and we'll see how it kind of falls out with the commons being really available. Again, you want the budget version? Oh no, I have to play a gold letter rare. It did come in El Dorado and is still very affordable. No excuse not to have your copies right now, unless you're on the ramen and you've spent life choices on other things. $3 for a playset or under. You should be able to get this if you are just staring hungrily at the future of Splight format. Now, for the current format, we do have a Super Poly target for that base deck that's putting up DPE and Baroness. This card takes 2 warrior monsters with different attributes, so Baroness DPE, and it is rising really sharply for both the ultra rare and the collector rare, and you can see that it's been continuously doing this over the full month. But I do want to say this actually isn't the highest a buyout has happened on Guilty Gear Freed, as you can see after, thanks for subscribing to the channel, it actually a while back had a much bigger buyout due to Super Poly hype, and this is a smaller way. We don't see this too often where there's huge and then secondary, but it's not as big after. So not as many people, trying to super hold this, and it is more temporal, as a lot of people think that Adventure Token Engine, Banlist theory, it'll get hit, I won't have to worry, or their Splight, it'll choke it out. But for the current format, people are starting to consider this card / tech it a little bit, specifically for that deck / engine. But Branded is taking over, so this becomes more of an option for those with Super Poly who want to slide it and can fit it into their extra deck. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. Sorry that these keep getting longer. There's just more tabs open, more to talk about, and I try to keep it as timely as possible, but you guys like market theory a lot, and I do enjoy talking about it. Like, we were way ahead on Crossout Designator, but again, Market Man can be wrong or even sometimes be the source of why something gets bought out, but I still think this is going to happen on its own. Thanks for watching so much, and remember, pre-sale's up over at Gamer's Choice still. The last quantities of their Alubers are up, along with some of their other cards that have been very hot.